G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And just over 6 months ago I featured this very car on the channel, and I really wanted to compare it with my Accord, but at the time my car was stuck in a workshop with no gearbox in it. But thankfully now this is back on the road and this has a few more modifications done to it. So today I present to you the JDM Type S wagon CM2 versus my New Zealand new Euro S sedan CL9. In terms of modifications, both of these cars have a K24. With mine being New Zealand new, it has a K24 A3, and with this one being a JDM import, it has a K24 A2. And from factory, there's very minor differences. This one makes about 8 kilowatt more than this, and I think about 10 more Newton meters, at least in theory. Who knows? Either way, they start out as basically the same engine. In the case of mine, I've gone down less of the outright power route and more down the making it as fun to drive as possible. I've done just a header, intake, exhaust and a tune to bring it all together, and then I've also done the Type R gears for the 6-speed manual gearbox here to give it much shorter ratios to make the most of the power that it does have. In the case of this one, it's had quite a lot more done to it, which means that in theory neither of these cars have been dynoed, but in theory this will be making quite a bit more wheel horsepower than my car. It has a PLM header, a custom exhaust and a short ram intake as well, and then it also has a RSP intake manifold, which is straight off of an FN2 Civic Type R, and then it also has a 50-degree VTC and a CU2 Intake Camshaft. And finally it has a K-Flash NZ tune. Now what this does is reflashes the car to help make more power and make the most of all of the supporting modifications that he's got done to it. It also gives it a higher red line, and the VTEC now comes in at 4,000 rather than 6,000 to give you a much wider power band. And if you'd like to get your car tuned as well, whether it would be completely stock or heavily modified like this, then you can check out his work via the link in the description. And finally, because this is a sedan versus wagon video, the boot space in the back of the wagon is without question a lot better than in my car. In this video up here, I talked about all the different variants of Accord Euro and which one was best, and I said in that video that if you want a practical family car, you can't go wrong with a first gen wagon. And seeing one in the flesh now, that is definitely the case. The back seat and boot space in one of these is absolutely fantastic when compared with the sedan. But the age-old question is, will the lightweight and short-geared but less powerful sedan take the victory in a rolling race over the much more powerful but heavier and longer geared wagon? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. 3, 2, 1, go. Wow. Alrighty, and 3, 2, 1, go. Alrighty, so driving the Type S wagon, this one obviously has a completely different selection of mods. He's gone for, you know, more power baby, but let's see how it goes. Oh, we're back to the really long second gear with this. Dang, it's fast, and it makes a really good noise, very interesting noise. Quite different to mine, that's for sure. That almost sounds a bit more K20A, I suppose. It has a much more raspy induction noise, whereas my car in general is pretty smooth. But again, what I love about this is that it's not an annoying car to drive, right? You can cruise along happily, you know, on the motorway. It's comfortable, it's really nice to drive, and then you know that at any moment you can knock it down some gears, get on the power. Oh yeah, that mid-range is amazing. Wow, you just feel that just, oh wow, it's got some power, you know. But the gear ratios, oh, going back to the old gear ratios makes me realize just how good the Type R gears are. You can do all the power mods you want, but truth be told, if you are looking to make your Accord the most fun and just insanely awesome driving experience possible, it's totally worth spending the money on a Euro R gearbox or a Type R gear set of some description and swapping them over. But I'm not going to say for a moment that this car is slow, and it definitely is a highlight of the tune that he has on this thing, where it is just, it just feels well tuned, right? You know, really good solid punch, great torque, but when you get it down the gears, oh, it does sound really good. Very, very good noise. Jumping out of the CM2 and back into my good old faithful CL9 again. Getting back in here, you can tell the immediate differences in philosophy with the design of the cars. The way that Jack has modified his CM2 is very much a, let's try and make the engine the centre of it all, just try and make the most power, make the best noise, and for that reason, it is a great car. And you would have seen in the rolling race, especially the one that we did in second gear, mate, that engine is making more power than mine, without question. Not only is it a K24A2 for starters, but it's got, you know, an intake, it's got a 50-degree VTC, it's got a bigger camshaft, it's arguably got a better tune as well. And, you know, you put all that together, and it is a mighty powerful car. But it's one thing to make the most amount of power and so on, and that's all very well and good, and I'm not going to deny that this car is great fun to drive and sounds better than this, both in terms of induction and exhaust noise, without question. That camshaft just gives it that beautiful gritty induction noise that you really want in a 4-cylinder car, and my car doesn't really have that. It just kind of has a bang sound rather than brrr sound like his car. And for that reason, his car is fantastic. But to me, this car is never meant to be the fastest car in the world, and so why chase huge power numbers when what I've tried to do instead is make it the most fun, most connected, best driving car possible. These short gears are literally the thing that makes this car as good as it is, because look at this, you can just pull out, just bang gears, so short, literally just instant changes through all the gears, and that to me is what this car is all about. So there we go, thank you very much for watching this episode of Kiwi Car Life, and if you want to see the original video that I did with Jack's CM2, then click over here, and if you want to see me comparing this Accord with the CP3 V6, the newer one, then click over here, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time.